Hi, Nancy here, and I want to teach you how to do the Russian join, also known as a Russian splice, and it's a method of joining yarn. I always tell people whenever you use a method like this, it's best to practice and try it on your yarn you're going to use before you actually do it in something that really matters. It works 90% of the time, maybe 95%. I guess I use wool more than anything else. I'm not sure if it works on all cottons, but it's worth giving it a try. It does eliminate sewing in a lot of ends, which is a big plus for everyone. When I do mine, I find the trick to my join is using a sharp needle. Many people just use a yarn needle and it's got more of a blunt point, and I find that does not do as good of a join, at least in my opinion. I like to use the sharp pointed needles, and these have large eyes on them, and you can find them at craft stores. I think, Joann, Michaels, some of the yarn stores have them, so it's worth shopping around. What's important is that you have a large selection of the various sizes. You want one that is similar to the size of yarn you're using. This is very bulky, so I would want a large needle. If I were using a sport weight, then of course I would want a much smaller needle, because you don't want the needle to be incorrect for the size yarn you're using. So we're going to take a great big one here, and I'm going to show you how to do this. It's pretty neat. My friend Michael just thinks this is the neatest thing in town, so he'll enjoy this. Alright, first thing you want to do, which, fair warning, is tricky, doesn't always work really well, is threading this into the needle, okay? And sometimes, and this is such thick yarn, sometimes I find doing that works best. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so this is going to be our sweater, our imaginary sweater. This is going to be the new ball of yarn we're going to start for our sweater. Be sure you have at least 6 to 8 inches left on the garment you're adding your yarn to before you start doing this. Don't wait till you're down to this much and say, okay, I think I'm going to do a Russian join. You're not going to have enough room to do it. Okay, so I thread the needle. I'm going to leave a tail about, I don't know, 2.5 inches. And now I'm going to take this needle and I'm going to literally go right back into the yarn that this tail is connected to. This is going back towards my sweater, and I'm going right into the center of the yarn. And the sharp point, I think, works the best because it kind of, I don't know, it kind of drills its way through for you. And if you notice, it's bunching up on the needle. Once it's bunched itself up and I really can't see any space here, that's when I say, I think I got enough. However, before I do anything else, I'm going to take the yarn from the ball that I'm adding, and I'm going to add this into my little loop. The loop that was formed when I started feeding this yarn onto that needle. Okay? I'm just going to leave that there for now. Okay, so now I'm just going to give this a pull. If somebody wants to fight you. Okay, I'm just going to pull this little tail up. Okay, now this little tail that I just brought in from the ball, I'm going to thread that, and we're going to hope for the best that it just goes on really, really slick. And it did. Today I've been lucky. Okay, I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. Okay. And I don't, if I see the needle coming off the sides, see like that, don't do that. You're not going to get a nice joint. Because if you let it go on the outside of the yarn, what's going to happen, it's going to cause this to get too thick. And then that's going to be an eyesore. So, you got to take a little time with it. But hey, it beats sewing in all those ends. I would say it's worth doing it. Okay. Alright. That's pretty good. So now I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side. Okay? Now I'm going to take this out, and now watch. This is what I'm going to take the sweater end, the ball end, look at that. I am pulling, and I am pulling hard, and that is one strong join. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to snip down. See the little ends that popped in. And if they pop, that one barely came up. If they pop a little more, just trim them as you go along. And I'll work, I'll just keep pulling it a little more. It's great. I mean, it's hard to believe that would be that diameter, but it is. It works well. It looks great. And that's how you do a Russian join.